Hello and welcome back to the Peach State Prime Transformers channel. Warren here. And today I have a wheelie special video for everybody. I couldn't resist. Yes, we're looking at the new Walmart exclusive Retro Wheelie figure. I guess the line is just called the Retro line. This is the line of toys. Usually pretty much the mini bots being done up in deluxe scale, on the, G1-esque, inspired packaging. And of course, they're also packaged in robot mode like all of your modern day toys, unlike the, G1 toys, which were in vehicle mode, which I personally prefer. I like having that reveal of a robot when you get that toy in hand, but regardless, so we're going to be doing a deep dive into this wheelie toy today. So make sure you watch your screen and don't go away. Yes, I thought about doing this whole episode rhyming. You're welcome. I decided not to. So wheelie. So wheelie here is a new mold. Unlike the other molds that have come out in this retro line at Walmart, which have all been redecos, slight retools of existing molds of the other mini cars so far. And, Wheelie is one of those, kind of one of the last mini car molds to get the deluxe treatment. Because outside of G1, we've actually gotten a number of other wheelies over the years. And, this one definitely stands out. Number one, it's one of the bigger wheelie options out there. He's wheelie big compared to the original. Sorry. And then this one, unlike the other releases, which kind of go for the, more the look of the movie and the, season 3 of the television show and beyond. This one really goes for that toy accuracy paint job. Now, let me just say, from the outset here, we knew as soon as this figure leaked that we're going to get a repaint of this figure to be more animation accurate. And of course, the leaks are already out there for 2027, is that we're getting a new Studio Series wheelie at a deluxe scale. So, don't even have to tell you, it's going to be this mold in, again, those animation colors. So, it's coming. But the toy colors are very nice and very accurate. We'll do some comparisons here in just a minute. He does have his slingshot, which the G1 toy, of course, did not come with a slingshot or any, any hint at a slingshot. But, it was very iconic in the movie, and, future-proofing this mold for other uses, they went ahead and included the slingshot. One thing I would have liked with that slingshot, though, is, you can't do much. I mean, he's holding, a gray Y, essentially. Yes, it's a slingshot. Okay, I shouldn't be so critical. We've had this with other wheelies, but, it would have been nice to have some way to put, like, a little blast effect there, like, let's say this one here. And, I really don't think I could show it, but you could have shown it, like, like launching off of there or something. That would have been a cool thing, but, I'm not docking points for that, not that I have a point system. He has a little bit of a backpack, but, nothing too egregious. He stands really easily. The face sculpt, I'm going to be honest, I think seeing this in more of a gray or silver, like the animation colors, will make it pop a little bit more, maybe with blue eyes. I think the face sculpt is good. It works for the G1 figure, or G1 reference, but in another color, I think it would pop a little bit more. And of course, you have what I called his ball cap in the past, his kind of the bill here. Nice Autobot symbol, tamper graphed on the front there. So overall, it's a very nice representation of Wheelie. I can't find much to complain about. And in full disclosure, this is not my figure. This is actually my oldest son's Warren, who loaned it to me, to do this review on. Because I haven't made the decision if I'm picking one up quite yet. And he's busy, or he would have joined me for this video. But anyways, I do want to do some comparisons. We'll start here in robot mode, and then as normal, we'll talk about the vehicle modes. But let's start with the original G1 Wheelie. And G1 Wheelie, just going to be honest, he is kind of nightmare fuel. I don't know how. Like, we've had some big jumps in animation, from toy to animation. I'm looking at Ironhide and Ratchet specifically. How you go from that to what we got was a stroke of genius, because this is another case. And what's bad is this Wheelie was not a die clone or Microman toy. This was an original mold for the 86 line, for when the movie came out, and we still got something that was this radical of a departure from when it ended up on screen. However, with that being said, G1 Wheelie, left something to be desired. This new Wheelie really does mash the best of both worlds as far as a toy homage and, again, what we got on screen. The color matching here is really dead on by Hasbro. You can look at, the faces are both completely orange, except for the eyes on this one. And, one thing, and without diving too deep, I really feel that what I always called the ball cap, or this brim here, I really think it has to do with this. And this was the original intent for that. So, that's kind of what they're homaging there with this release. And every Wheelie since then, including the animation model. But as I was saying, again, the colors just right on. Like, they really matched those oranges, the darker and the lighter orange. That's great. Now, as far as backpacks, again, they both had them. So that's, pretty accurate for this new release. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. Again, this one's bigger. This one, the nostalgia factor with the toy, but that's about it. And the fact that it's a G1 toy. So let's take a step forward. Now, I don't have every Wheelie. This was the one, oh my gosh, I forget exactly when this one came out. This was the one, I believe, was released as part of Generations as a Legend/Core class. This one took a step in a direction of being a little bit more animation accurate. You see they both have those bills there. The orange on this one is reminiscent of, what we have on the toy version here with the new Wheelie. They both do have slingshots. This one is hidden right up here. It's just kind of molded / painted on. But it's a nice homage on that smaller figure. But, so that's how these two kind of compare. Now, the next and last one I'm going to show is the one I really feel needs to go up against this figure. So, like I said, there's been others out there. There was I think it was GTA or GTO, one that was originally released in Hasbro China or Asia, and ended up being a Walmart exclusive over here. That was a remold of Jazz from Reveal the Shield. I don't own that one, but that one I would say is bigger, probably bulkier than this Wheelie. And then, of course, you had the non-transforming ones that came with the G1 and G2, the blue releases of Studio Series Grimlock. that were, again, non-transformable and just pack-ins. The second one having, the G2 one having that children's book, I believe it was called The Wild Boy of Cybertron paint scheme as a G2 wheelie. But anyways, the one that I feel this one really needs to go up against is what we now have as Studio Series Wheelie. Studio Series Wheelie here, of course, was a Legend / Core class. You see they both have slingshots. And it's kind of honestly a mixed bag between the two of them. You take a look, you see where this one could be repainted more like, the existing Studio Series, especially in the chest area, and not to mention the head and face and the whole body. Both have some backpacks. So, and like I said, they both have their slingshots there. I do want to call attention to the heads here. Again, considering that this wheelie will be repainted and released as a deluxe class 86 Studio Series wheelie, effectively somewhat replacing this one. I have to be honest, I don't think this head sculpt is good enough to replace the head sculpt on the Legends class. This one just really nailed it, and really it's so darn close to the wheelie we got on screen. Now, what hasn't been said, obviously this is going to be the mold base for what we're going to get. However, we could get a new head on this wheelie. It could be a redeco and a slight retool. I think if they do that, there's a chance this could become the better wheelie. I personally, even though all the mini bots seem to be getting this deluxe class treatment, I think it really depends on the character. For instance, I think Gears and Brawn, Huffer, I still, even though they're mini bots like Wheelie, I still kind of see them as, somebody that should be bigger and bulkier than Wheelie, who's a little kid. So I still might prefer this size class for my collection. And again, this is just based on robot mode now. And again, without seeing the future tooling of this figure and coloring, but it's going to be awfully hard to beat this one in the future. But anyway, so that's the robot mode comparisons. Let's transform these wheelies and see how they compare in alt mode. All right, we now have wheelie in vehicle mode here. It's actually very nice. And again, full disclosure, this being my son's figure, I had never transformed it before, and I did not have access to the instructions. He either lost them or threw them away. But anyways, so it was pretty intuitive, which if you've watched any of my other reviews, I like Transformers that are intuitive and you can figure out without instructions. Wheelie here is one of those. Couple design choices I rather liked here is I liked how you have these panels here to help hide the fists, and you'd spin the fists around, and from the outside, or at least the side view, or in the top here, you can't tell those are fists. So I like that. Also like how the front end kind of sticks out more. And your cockpit doesn't open up there, but it does look just like what we would expect Wheelie, and Wheelie wheels do spin rather well. So that's nice, because some of the Transformers, they just kind of drag along anymore. Colors, again, let's get to our comparisons. Again, the colors match pretty dead on for that G1 wheelie look here that they were going for. So, no complaints there. Looks, the back's a bit different, but, you know, it's Wheelie. It's G1 Wheelie. You know, albeit the front end here being a little bit higher than, you know, the original. It's a great homage. And then let's take a look at that Generations one here. They were going for more of a non-Cybertronian looking car here, though. You know, this little part here is kind of a nod to the, you know, the cockpit window on the original Wheelie, which I guess technically this is the original Wheelie. But you see colors are still similar. But, you know, this one definitely pulls off the Wheelie look a bit better. And then we're going to get into, again, the existing Studio Series Wheelie. Now, this is where things get interesting because, you know, I thought this one looked a little bit more screen accurate when it came to, you know, what we saw in the movie and everything in robot mode. And vehicle mode, no sir. No sir. This new mold, this deluxe mold that we have in this Walmart Retro line blows the Studio Series out of the water. I mean, the front end's all wrong on this one. And where I was calling up the hands was because as I transformed this one, I haven't seen this one in vehicle mode in quite some time. You just have the hands sticking out on this. And I know it's a Legends class, but how easy. We just could have got an extra joint here just to at least fold them in to tuck them underneath, you know, kind of the trunk there. Would have made a world of a difference. And that's where I called out when they added these panels here to hide the fists. And I love that bit of engineering. So, you know, all this being said, you know, I originally was saying, no, I might just stick with this Wheelie. What I want to do, I think this is a great Wheelie mold. Again, the head, I gotta see it repainted or retooled to look more, you know, in that animation aesthetic, which they're going to do. They're going to do it. I guess I want to see that version because I rather, me personally, you know, well, I love homaging the toys. I love toys that look animation and or comic accurate versus homaging old toys that may not so much reference that. That's just where I am as a collector. And I mean, your collecting goals may be a little different than mine. But, you know, I think this is a great mold. And again, I can't wait to see it in 2027 redecoed as part of the Studio Series line. There's actually one more comparison I want to do. And I think it's the best comparison we can do. So hang on just a minute and I'll get us over there. All right, folks. So for our surprise comparison, this is a copy. Excuse me. This is not a copy. This is an actual poster that was used in 1986 to promote Transformers the movie, not a replica. And we have Wheelie there in vehicle mode. So how does that compare? Okay, I gotta back that up. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm trying to hold two things at once, the camera and the toy. So let's see. Of course, it's going to put one of them probably out of focus. But that looks pretty similar. I mean, I can't say it matches any of the toys, you know, exactly. But I do think this is the closest. So, again, I can't wait to see the animation redeco of this toy here. All right, here's your group shot of the Wheelies. This sounds like a bad name for a superhero group. Anyways, I will say, you know, I gave our new member of the Wheelie Brigade here a lot of credit for being really, you know, intuitive as far as transforming. It doesn't hold as much credibility going from vehicle to robot. However, I did get it. Just not as fast as I would have thought of. But anyway, so that's all 4 of them. And just some final thoughts. You know, and I'm kind of repeating myself here. But, you know, right now in robot mode, our current Studio Series Wheelie really does take the cake. However, I think an overall wheelie mold, I do think our deluxe class friend here does take the title, simply because, you know, he looks good in both molds. You don't have anything just like random hands out there, or molds, both modes, excuse me. You know, nothing weird hanging out there. I just, you know, again, as I said earlier, I love homages more to what we saw on screen, more so than original toys. So, again, I'm holding out on buying this one for myself until we see that Studio Series version coming out next year. But you know, to each their own. And I mean, if you want to collect both, go right ahead. Or again, if you're after the toy decos, that's awesome too. All right, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting. Hope it helps you decide if you want to pick up this wheelie off of the Walmart shelf or not when you're there next time. Again, you know, share your comments with us. You know, what do you think of this figure? Do you have it yet? Are you waiting to see what the 2027 1986 Studio Series Wheelie looks like I am, or do you just not care? Are you a Wheelie completist? You're going to pick it up no matter what? Let us know your thoughts in the comments there. And of course, if you did enjoy this video, I invite you to give it a like here on YouTube. It certainly helps me out. And of course, subscribe to the Peach State Prime Transformers channel for more content reviews like this. Again, deeper dives and thoughts into news and you know, other announcements that come up, sometimes events that I, you know, am able to go to that's related to Transformers, like Toylanta. You know, cover that all on this channel. And of course, if you're interested in just other fun videos, I have my original channel, Peach State Prime, which does have different events, attractions, fun places to eat and shop, all in and around the South and the Atlanta, Georgia area. You know, there's plenty of nerd stuff on there as well. But anyways, I really appreciate you watching this video. Hope you have a great day, and God bless.